What's the most embarrassing, cringy thing you've accidentally shown someone, or something they accidentally saw, while using your phone or computer? Oh god. My internet was down. Had to have the Bell alien guy come to fix it. When it was fixed he asked me to just check it was working properly, so I refreshed a tab and it instantly opened the porn I was watching before the internet died. As a 21-year-old woman, that was the most horrifically embarrassing moment of my life. He then said, "Is there anything else you need?" And I became worried I was living in the plot to the world's most cliché porn. In college I had a crush on a guy, whose name was 4 letters. I set it as my phone passcode. When I was home for break, my brother took my phone and started teasing me about liking this guy. Then he tried to unlock my phone using his name as the passcode. It worked. Same thing happened to me in high school. Had a crush on guy A, made name my password. Sat at lunch with guy B who had the same name. He took my phone and jokingly said he was going to try seeing if his name was my password. My fiancée was sending me some sexy nudes on Snapchat one day. She had a bit too much to drink by this time. I got all of them, but so did one of her sisters and a few she accidentally posted to her story. Luckily one of her female friends saw it and told her, so she could delete them before anyone else saw them. Her sister snapped her back a thumbs up that said, "Didn't want to see that, but hey nice vag. Lol." She was incredibly embarrassed naturally, and it took a while before I got saucy pics again. During college my girlfriend worked night shifts, so I would sometimes crash at her place, that way I'd be there. When she got off in the mornings one night her roommates had a few people over to drink and I, being alone, decided to crank one out. Spent about 3 to 5 minutes watching some material wondering why the audio wouldn't work on my phone. Then I hear an eruption of laughter from the kitchen. It was a small apartment. Turns out I was the last one that connected to the Bluetooth speaker they were using and was blasting my porn audio to an apartment full of people. I have never been so embarrassed in my life, and I laid there for what felt like an eternity afterwards listening to them all die laughing. I was kind of on the flip side of this when my uncle was going through pictures of my baby cousin on his phone and swiped too far to show me a picture of my auntie standing completely naked in a doorway. The image is still burned into my mind. Oh man, that's traumatizing. At least it's not his dad. Why would his uncle have naked pics of his dad? A friend was showing us his holiday pictures and accidentally swiped too far and showed us all a selfie of his a-hole, then one of his balls. When he tried to fix it, one of my friends sent a picture of his a-hole and nuts to a Snapchat group, and in return another guy sent one back. I've seen photos of the ball sacks of more friends of mine than I'm fully comfortable with due to stuff like this. It guy here. Way back in the day I was using Netscape, which had this feature of popping up the last site you were on. I believe this was default. Anyways, I had legitimately been doing some research on hacking since I was the administrator for a small web hosting company, so of course the sites I hit were chock full of pop-up ads with porn. So some Monday my boss and another woman, I think she was basically the EA, wanted to look at something on my computer, so I go sure, NP, fire up Netscape and bam, up pops like 8 chicks in a line all giving blowjobs. I was pissed. Luckily they believed my story, I think, but still, embarrassing. Other than that, nothing. I'm not stupid enough to use a work phone or computer to look at art. Also, life pro tips, if you're attached to your work VPN, don't be browsing the naughty bits. Not me, but a friend of mine was living with his dad, and they only had one computer in the house. This was 15 plus years ago. My friend was showing his dad how to do something on the computer and they opened up Windows Media Player. Somehow it started playing the last video watched, which was a lesbian porn video that my friend had been watching. Not me, but a friend of mine. Whatever helps you sleep at night. Had the minister of my church at my house. He wanted to upload music from his laptop onto my Zoom. Tells you when this was. He turns it on and the Zoom immediately displays a topless picture of my fiancée, a girl he's known since birth, having been best friends with her parents. He just clears his throat and says, "I didn't see that." The rest of my time with him that day was incredibly awkward, but he never brought it back up again. Thought you meant the picture originally came from his laptop. Edit. To clear up any confusion, the picture was on my Zoom that I had taken. The pastor knew nothing about it prior to seeing it. That would be when my sister saw my vag. We recently reconnected. We had been estranged because of my absolutely insane mother. We were laughing, talking, just generally catching up on 20 years of life, and of course we were showing one another pictures of our families/houses/friends. I thought, oh, I'll pull up Google Photos, because then she can just open albums and see each person, or whatever, all at a time, and I forgot that one of the albums is called Naughty, and Google Photos chose a very naughty pic for the album cover despite my begging it to choose another. I had the app open to an album of kid pics. When I handed it over, she closed the album, swiped to see what other albums she wanted to look at, and I heard, oh. She told her fiancé we got to know one another really well in that first meeting. Not exactly accidental, but when I was 15 my mom was snooping through my phone and found a text that said, "I wish I could have a girl with boobs so big I could suffocate in them." That was a cool fun time for me. What was her reaction? Well, she was looking in my phone cause she thought I was doing drugs, so she was just kind of disappointed that I was a horny little weirdo. Way back when, I was playing a bunch of World of Warcraft. This was back when people were making funny machinima YouTube videos constantly, and I had them downloaded to my computer so I could show my friends. Then one day, I set up a very early version of Plex video streaming software on my computer, and I hook up my TV for a small party. Little did I know, Plex scans your media library and then runs out to the internet to find a cover image that Plex thinks matches your movies so that you have a thumbnail to click when you want to watch that video. For some of my WoW YouTube videos, it found pictures of orcs and elves fucking and threw that up on the screen. The girl I liked at the party, what the FK is that? Me, borderline speechless. I have no fucking idea. I was on the receiving end of seeing something I shouldn't have. Early on when I was working at Geek Squad, a girl and her boyfriend came in with a MacBook saying she was having trouble emptying the recycle bin. I, forgetting that Macs don't have a right click button on the trackpad, clicked the right side of the trackpad thinking it would bring up the menu to empty the bin. You have to click with 2 fingers to get the right click options to show, just like a Windows computer. Except it didn't, and the trash bin opened. Inside there were dozens of pics of this girl's tits, spread eagle, asshole, everything. I saw everything. The girl was on the other side of the computer and didn't see anything I was doing. But at this point I was freaking the fuck out, and of course the computer froze for what felt like 10 minutes while the trash bin folder was still open, showing all her nudes. During this time, the girl's extremely muscular, juiced out boyfriend walked up asking her how things were going. Once he asked, she started grabbing the computer to turn it towards her. Thankfully by the time she grabbed the laptop, I was able to close out and empty the trash bin. She asked how much it would be, I told her no charge, and went on my way. I went into the back, and my boss said I looked like I had just seen a ghost. I told him what happened, and he was just laughing at me the rest of the day. Bet you learned how Macs work real quick. Huh. Yep, I did. Was talking to some cute girl, it was going well, and gave her my phone to add me on Facebook. Her profile was the first profile on the recent Facebook searches. I was out of curiosity checking out my friend's GF on Facebook. Like not stalking her or sexualizing her. I met her once, she seemed nice, wanted to see what she was all about. My friend knocked on my door and I answered, and he came in my room and I just wasn't thinking about what I was doing, because it was harmless. Then he saw my screen, and was like, "Why the fuck are you checking out my GF?" Edit, we laughed about it. He knew I wasn't trying to double dip, but it was an awkward moment. I didn't show this, but it was shown to me. I worked at a fast food chain as their IT guy, but started in one of the stores in the chain, and was known by all of the elderly regulars there. One of them asks me for help with something on his phone, accessing his email or something to that effect, and I instructed him to open his web browser on his phone and search for something. The very first autofill response that came up was "I accidentally impregnated my stepdaughter." Edit, for those that are curious, I unfortunately do not know if he did, in fact, impregnate his stepdaughter. I wonder if old people do this on purpose just to mess with us. I was at a pool party and someone asked if they could use my iPod for the music. I obliged. He found a playlist with some songs he liked and put it in. I didn't realize it when the music started, but about halfway through making that particular playlist I experienced some heartache, so suddenly the pool party heard Unbreak My Heart by Toni Braxton. I ran out of the pool and was like, oh, how'd that happen? Weird, and put in some metal. Smooth. If it happened today I'd just own it and laugh, but 17 to 18-year-old me was embarrassed. Wow, the first post that isn't pornographic in nature. I forgot this thread wasn't about porn until I got here. Father-in-law was looking at photos on my phone with me. I got a text from my wife that said, I've been a naughty bee, you need to come home and slap my behind. I turned to him and said, what kind of daughter did you raise? I'll learn that day. A. Turn off preview. 3. Do not joke about a man's daughter. Oh man. A few years ago I used to work with an older, very Christian lady. I'm younger, gay, and decidedly not religious. Despite this we got along pretty well and sat next to each other. We usually just talked about neutral things like how she was remodeling her house or the weather. Anyway, one time I went on vacation and she wanted to see pictures, so I handed her my phone. Totally forgot I had some guy's nudes on there. Luckily they weren't mine, but she literally screamed, dropped my phone, and ran into the bathroom. It's a miracle she never said anything to HR. I was so worried I was going to get in trouble. Had a girl over a few months back. We'd been hanging out for a week or so at this point. We were watching a movie on my iPad, and my iMessage is linked with my phone and my iPad, so every text I get shows up on both of them. My roommate, who was out of town at the time, decided it would be a great time to text me and ask how things are going, only he didn't use those words. No, as things are going good, he decides to text me, hey, did you FK that chick yet?